How about them Gamecocks, baby? How about them? Welcome to episode 13 of the M&M Show, the Kentucky edition. And thanks for tuning in. For the people who love it, and for the haters, you can kiss it. So, all right, let's get down to it. I'm very pleased with the Gamecocks' performance against Vandy as they sunk the Commodore ship 37-14. And it should have been worse, but 2 fumbles in the red zone slowed down us from putting up 50. Javon Kinlaw put on a show with 2 forced fumbles, 3 tackles for loss, and 2 sacks. And he actually had the highest grade for Pro Football Focus with a 97.1 in the nation. So he was the highest ranked player in the nation for last week's game against Vandy. So that's a very good game by him, and I hope he plays that game the same way he did against Vandy this week in Lexington. So, however, also a great game by the entire defense. Our linebackers did struggle with filling gaps among Vandy's offensive line, outside of Bryson Allen Williams. But the D-line played very, very well against the run and also rushing the passer consistently. So it was a complete game by those guys. Also, they asked communicated. They asked us communicated, especially in the secondary, our safeties. But our linebackers did look confused on some occasions. So we're going to have to get that cleaned up because playing against Benny Snell, you can't have that against that Kentucky rushing attack that they're going to bring to us. So, yeah, man. Bentley was very efficient in running and when he had to. So, very efficient with passing and running. I know he had a couple of rushes there. He had the big 19-yard run on the scramble where he improvised. So, yeah, he was very efficient. The pick, though, kind of bothers me because I think he should see that. Come on, the guy, you got to, because it's happened on multiple occasions this season. And it should have been picked against Georgia when they actually batted the ball one time because they can see that RPO coming. So the guy just kind of sits there in the passing lane, whether if it's a linebacker or whether if it's a defensive lineman, and try to wait to get in the passing lane. So he's got to punk fake or he's got to see that guy there and not make that throw, because Coastal Carolina did it too. They batted the ball up and the guy almost got an interception. So he needs to watch out for that. But running backs were solid besides the fumbles deep in Vanderbilt territory. So we got to hold on to the ball, especially in a close game that we're going to have this weekend. That's what I expect, a very, very close, hard-fought game against the Wildcats. So ball security is highly important. Got to get that taken care of. Shout out to Shy Smith, Union County. He was our best receiver in the game and definitely our X-Factor wideout. He's going to be our X-Factor wideout in every game. But he has the best hands on the team, period. The best hands. So we always got to figure out a way to get him the ball. And, of course, the coaching staff knows that, and that was a point of emphasis going into the game last Saturday, and it needs to be going into the game this Saturday. So I like Kira Pollard's catch. I love him getting fired up when his helmet got popped off. So they had a lot of energy. Everybody had a lot of energy, and they wanted to win that game. And they wanted to show the ESPN game day crew what they dumbasses picking Vandy across the board. Sometimes they don't do research. I mean, sometimes analysts are not so analytic. Let's be for real. All right. So let's go into the next segment as we check out Kentucky's matchup that they had against Mississippi State this last Saturday in Lexington. So let's go ahead and check that out. State quarterback Fitzgerald gets the scoring started with the 1-yard touchdown, giving the Bulldogs the 7-point lead. But then Kentucky would answer with Benny Snell. They're all conference back. And then also he takes it in from the Wildcat from another 1-yard punch in, giving Kentucky the 14-7 lead after the extra point is true. Oh man, the Wildcat is going to be something that we are really going to have to be disciplined in. Linebackers, D-line, DBs, everybody has to be in tune to stop that. We got to be ready to be physical, be ready to tackle well. As you can see, this play from different looks as Benny Snell really just powers in. And that's something we got to be ready to do, is be ready to be physical and gang tackle. But yeah. But then again, getting down to the fourth quarter, it's getting late. Fitzgerald overthrows and it's picked off by Kentucky, and they take it deep into Bulldogs territory. And then Benny Snell hits him with a knockout punch for the 36-yard run. And then he's giving Kentucky a 14-point lead late in the fourth. And then he does it again, punching it in. So that's really what Kentucky did, man. They really just ran and wore Mississippi State out. And then Benny Snell was able to break runs late in the game. As you can see him powering in the end zone. You know, woo! This is going to be something. This is going to be one of the most talented Kentucky teams we have faced. And the streak doesn't matter. It's just game to game. So, yeah, man, that's how the game ended up. Kentucky would end up winning that game 28-7. Snell would finish with 165 yards off 25 carries and 4 touchdowns. Scored all 4. So, Bulldogs were held to 201 yards of total offense by the Wildcats. So we're going to have our hands full. But you know what? I think our offense is more versatile than Mississippi State, and we have a quarterback that can definitely make more throws than Fitzgerald being in Jake Bentley. But Jake Bentley is going to have to be on this game. So, all right. And speaking of this game, I'm going to go ahead and talk about the keys and what South Carolina needs to do to be able to come out with a victory. All right. So, let's do these keys to the game. Key number 1, defensive line and LBs must complement each other. Our LBs must do a better job this game and maintaining their gaps. You know, have the defensive line's backs when the defensive line is doing their jobs by keeping stalemates and holding up their end of the bargain. So our LBs need to come in and fill those gaps. And the front 7 needs to do their job, along with the secondary. Secondary has to do their job as well. They have to get off blocks, because usually with a running team, they are going to have, of course, wide receivers that can block as well, as long as with their offensive line. The whole entire offensive unit can block, usually in a running-based offense. So everybody's going to have to do well on our defensive unit as far as being physical and getting off blocks. And everybody and them DBs are going to have to come in on run support as well and be good at run support. So if our DB is going to have to be able to tackle just as well as our LBs this week. So also gang tackling Benny Snell or any other ball carrier, a man that Kentucky throws out there, because Kentucky's going to run Wildcat. They're going to run the ball out of various formations. They are going to run the football. So if we tackle him high, we're doomed, because we cannot tackle this first team all SEC back high. We must hit him low all game. Boom, 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 all game. Hit him in his lower body. He's going to make some plays. He's too good, but we must try to contain him and bring pain to him in some sort of way, because he's going to try to bring pain to us. That's his goal, to bring pain to every defense that he plays. Dude's a good back. This is definitely probably the best running back that Kentucky has ever had in their history. I can't think of another one. Can you? All right. So, but also our running game must be working, and we must stick with it. We must have a solid running game so it can become another defensive force for us by allowing our time of possession to increase over Kentucky's and keep Benny Snell on the sideline. All right. So that's 3. Now getting on to 4. Our offensive line must be beast and smart. Understand that Kentucky is going to try to create advantages by overloading pressure on one side. They do this to try to confuse offensive linemen into making a wrong decision in terms of which defender to block. This creates a free rusher at the QB. So we must be ready for Kentucky's physicality and speed among their defensive front and how they want to create pressure, because they want to create pressure with odd fronts. So we have to be able to be ready to diagnose where the pressure is coming from pre-snap. So our offensive line, they just quickly pick up the guy who they're supposed to block, and there's no extra thinking. All right, and defensive edge rusher Josh Allen can be a problem if our O-line is not ready for his speed on the outside. So we whatever we need to do offensively on the offensive line to be able to counteract him from getting a speed rush, along with they have another good linebacker too. I think his name is Jordan Jones, number 34. He's pretty good. But we have to be ready for these guys, man, because they got a lot of speed. And they got a really good, solid defensive line. So our offensive line has to be ready to be a force and be one of our strongest assets in this matchup. So that's it. You know, I'm just going to go off and say what I think the prediction is going to be. If the Gamecocks do these keys, I think they can win by a touchdown margin, 6 points. It's going to be one possession. And I'm going to say it's going to be 27-21. 27-21. Gamecocks on top. Let's go.
This concludes the M&M Show. Thanks for tuning in.